Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing another unboxing and review, and this time it's going to be of the Ryobi OnePlus HP Brushless Circular Saw. So you guys seem to really enjoy the unboxing and review videos that we make, specifically of the Ryobi products. Yes, it is Ryobi, even though Ryobi just feels better. I'm going to start saying Ryobi in these videos because that's the right way to say it. And so this past weekend was Black Friday weekend, and we went out, we did a little bit of shopping, went to the Home Depot, we wanted to see what they had in terms of sales, and they had a lot of sales, mostly, or at least on the Ryobi products. This one was like $30 off, and the number one reason why we chose to go with this is because I've been looking to upgrade our circular saw for a while now, been waiting patiently, waiting for a good deal. And this was only $100, which I think was a pretty good deal. And so we snagged it. And just to kind of show you what we've been working with, it's this corded, hyper tough circular saw. It's about the same size as this one, a little bit heavier. It's the same blade size, 7 1/4. This was Jess's, and so we've had this for several years now. It's a Walmart brand. You could probably still pick them up for like $20 or $30. It's been a really good circular saw, and we're going to hang on to it just to have a backup just in case, and because it's corded as well as opposed to cordless. So, and that was another reason why we wanted to upgrade, or at least I wanted to upgrade, is something that was more lightweight and something that would be battery powered as opposed to the cord, because sometimes when I'm doing cuts I get really nervous with that cord. Just even the router that we have. It makes me nervous, just like, is that cord going to jump out in front of me and like shock me or something like that. So that was one of the biggest reasons why we decided to purchase this. Let's go ahead and unbox this thing and see what's inside. Alright, I've got a few other things out here. Don't mind all of this for right now. We're going to get there in just a few minutes. But so the Ryobi 18-volt OnePlus HP high performance brushless circular saw. Alright, we've got our user manual that I will probably never ever read because I like to watch videos, and then it looks like just a list of some other Ryobi products. We don't need that either. So here is the saw. There's nothing in that box. And then I believe this is the shoe for the dust collecting system, which we'll get to that, and then our blade. And I believe that's it. If there's anything else here in a few minutes, we'll hang on to the box and we'll find out. This is the 24 carbine teeth 7 1/4 blade. I decided to go with the bigger one. I know that there is like a 5-inch one maybe, or a 6.5 inch. I don't know the other sizes, but I wanted something that was going to be equivalent to our previous circular saw. Screw that goes with that. Alright. And here is the saw. I can already tell how much better I like this as opposed to the Hyper Tough, the current one we have. I'm not sure what the actual weight is of this one, but it seems to be at least, it's probably pretty close. It's a little bit lighter, but it's pretty close. Another key highlight in comparison to this circular saw and even other models of the Ryobi circular saws is obviously that it's a brushless motor as opposed to the brushed motor. And I'm not going to go into the details of the engineering behind that because I'm not that smart. Please feel free to research it. There's more than enough accessible articles on brushed versus brushless. But essentially, in a motor, you've got electricity that's converted into power by the compelling and repelling magnets that cause the shaft to rotate and spin and cause the motor to spin. And in a brushed motor, there's these brushes that have to work with the magnets in order to help supply power to the shaft to get it to spin. That's the best way I can explain it. It's probably not even that accurate, but essentially a brushless system does the same thing, but it's a computer. There's no brushes. It's a circuit board essentially. The biggest benefits are that number one, it's more efficient in terms of power, it's more responsive, and it's capable of supplying more power and torque and amperage from the battery to the motor and to the blade. So that's brief overview, probably not incredibly accurate, but again, go and research it if you're interested in knowing more. According to the website, using a 6 amp hour battery, which I do not have, you can get up to 300 plus cuts per hour. I believe that's what it is. It's 40% more powerful or efficient as opposed to a brushed Ryobi circular saw. And then it also does bevel cuts up to 56 degrees, which you can see that right here on the front. You've got 56, and then all the way to 0, which is where we're set at right now. And there's a piece of cardboard in here that I'm gonna get out. There we go. So let's just adjust this and see. The only thing that I'm not crazy about here, so as you can see, there are no stops where it would lock into place, similar to the miter saw that I have, where you've got the different adjustments for the bevel. It'll lock into place at certain points. This doesn't do that. It'll be interesting to see how you can get an absolute accurate cut, which I don't think that I'll really ever be doing any beveled cuts necessarily with a circular saw, but I could be wrong. The depth of the cut is 2 7/16 of an inch. I know there's some other competing models or brands that have a little bit of a deeper cut, and so I'm not too concerned about that. The majority of the time, the cuts that I make with my circular saw is usually just plywood and like a 2x4. If anything, I don't think I've ever really tried to cut a 4x4 with a circular saw. That is mostly what I work with, is plywood and 2x4s and anything smaller in between. One feature that I do really like is the handle here has this rubbery texture to it. I'm not really sure what that is, but it definitely has a very strong, it's got a good feel to it where I can get a good strong grip. As opposed to this one is you can hear the difference just in the texture. This one doesn't have as good of a grip on it, whereas this one I don't feel like I would probably lose my grip, which I didn't really lose my grip with that one either, but just for safety and security purposes, this just has a better feel to it. Additionally, like most circular saws, there is kind of this safety switch here, which when it's not engaged, the trigger won't engage, and so what you basically have to do is just push it in with your thumb and then press in the trigger. And there's also kind of like this second click, which for me lets me know that I'm engaged, right? As opposed to, because the trigger can sometimes move a little bit more freely than you would like, but with that extra click, hey, we're going. And then there is this switch here, which will allow for the depth adjustment, going from all the way up here, all the way down to our 2 7/16 of an inch. So yeah, that's basically it. We are gonna have to put the actual blade in, and right here you can see you're gonna need an Allen wrench. What I like about this saw is the Allen wrench is right here. Bingo. There's our Allen wrench tool. And now we can take off the nut and the bolt to be able to access this area so that we can put on the blade. Good call on this right here. Another feature is that there is supposedly an onboard LED light, which I believe is this right here. And we'll get to that here in just a second. Actually, I'm gonna throw a battery on here. Yeah, there it is, see? So that's pretty cool. That will definitely help, I would think. But for now, let's go ahead and try to install our blade here. And then you'll see right here is another safety switch, lock switch, whatever you want to call it. What we're going to need to do is engage that in order to be able to lock the bolt system in place. And as you can see, before that it spins freely, but you've got to get it switched in. There it goes. That way you can unscrew this. So it makes the process fairly simple of disassembling the blade. bolt. There's our first washer, or nuts, whatever you want to call it. And then there is also this washer, nut, whatever you want to call it. This even says it installed behind the blade, this side out, so you would just keep it in place right there. So that one's not going to move. Let's grab our blade. Okay. And then we're going to set this in. And then same thing, to press this button in to get it locked into place. There it goes. Alright. Okay, that's probably pretty good right there. Put our Allen wrench back. And let's just do a simple test here. There we go. That was pretty simple. As you saw, installing the blade, no problems whatsoever. This one, on the other hand, I have had the hardest time trying to get a new blade onto this circular saw, especially if you're trying to switch from a ripping blade to a cross-cut blade. It can be very tedious because obviously there's no Allen wrench port, if that's what you want to call it there. You have to actually use a wrench system, which I have that, but doing this one is definitely not as easy as that one. And this one also has the same kind of feature. It's got this locking mechanism there, which, yeah, same principle. All right, we are essentially ready to go. The only thing left is the dust collection system, which I don't know necessarily that I'm going to use that or utilize that. We'll see though, because it kind of defeats the purpose of cordless if you've got a big old dust collecting system kind of tailing behind you. But just for the sake of the tutorial and the video, you can see there's a spot here to put your screw, which is right here. And then it just sits on the back side of the saw just like that. And you'll see right here that there's also a little screw inlet right there. And conveniently, this one also requires an Allen wrench, which I do not have the size for, but I'm gonna screw it by hand here and just see. That's good enough for right now, just for the sake of the video. But yeah, that's how you would attach the dust collection port right there. Pretty sturdy. I'm interested in seeing how this operates, as to whether or not the dust actually comes from the front or actually will be sucked into the back. I would wager to bet a lot of it does have to do with this type of shop vac that you have, or dust collection system that you have, and the power that it has. So we'll see though. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the blade is level to the base here. And that's a very key component whenever you're getting a brand new saw like this. You've got to make sure things are level. I apologize for my neighbor over here. I love him to death. He's out leaf blowing again for like the 10th time this week. He is a nut when it comes to leaves. If you think I'm a perfectionist, that dude is a perfectionist. So you're gonna probably hear that. I'm gonna speak up just a little bit louder so that you can hear me over the leaf blower. And we'll try to wrap this video up before he actually makes it out here on the street. All right, so I did check the level on the blade. It's a little bit off. I've seen this in a couple of other videos as well, and I think I have a fix for it. If you can see here, this is obviously where you select your bevel, and it's set to 0 right now. So you would assume that the blade is perfectly at a 90-degree angle with the surface plate here. It is just like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of an inch off. And so if you were to take your level, it's kind of hard for me to do with just 2 hands. I need a 3rd hand. But like if you do that, which is what you do, you set it up against the blade here. Let's see if I can actually do it. Like, there is just a very, very minuscule, tiny gap here at the bottom. And on this saw, there is a feature where you have this screw where if you want to make a small minor adjustment, you can tighten it, and it will set the plate, it would push it down, so it would mean it would raise your bevel up from 0, but it doesn't allow for it to go sub-0, essentially. So what I was able to do is manipulate the plate just enough, just by applying a little bit of pressure and force downward, and then securing the screw here to get it a little bit further south of 0, so that the blade and the faceplate would be completely level, which again, it's still not, like at the very bottom there is just a very, very small gap that you can see. It's lined up here at the top, but at the bottom I can see light. Now the big question is, are other people experiencing this? I think so, because I've seen a couple other videos where this is an issue. So Ryobi, if you're watching this video, I don't know if that's something to address. The second thing is it going to make a major difference in your cuts? I can't answer that either. If you were a framer or a contractor, maybe, but even then, how are you going to be able to tell? So again, if you have this saw and you have the same problem, let me know in the comments below, or if there's like a fix for it that I'm not aware of. I don't think that it's worth returning personally and spending more money to find a higher quality saw. Like again, most of the cuts that we make, they're DIY projects, and I don't think it's going to make all that much of a difference. If it does in the long run, I will definitely let you guys know. But I think we've got the blade as level to the faceplate as possible at 90 degrees. And so I want to move on to batteries now. The recommended battery for this circular saw is the 18 volt 6 amp hour battery, which I do not have. All that I have, and these are old batteries too, I've got this, I think this is a 2 amp. No, this is 1.5 amp, and then I've got 2 4 amp hour batteries. So this one's probably not going to do all that well on this saw. There is another video that I watched. I'm going to link it down in the comments below. He does a really great job going through this saw and then also testing out different batteries. Be sure to go check that out, because I'm not going to go through all these batteries. But I will say I probably will be using the 4 amp hour, and then maybe, if not in the future, going out and purchasing the 6 amp hour battery, just so that it will be able to do what it says that it's supposed to do based on the specifications. This has a max RPM of 7,000. I would assume the lower the amperage on your battery, probably the less RPM you're going to get, and that's where you're going to see kind of this stalling happen, where you're going to do your cross cut or your rip cut, and like it stalls, or you'll hear kind of this decline in power or torque. So it is essential that you have at least a couple of batteries on hand, if not that recommended 6 hour amp battery to go with this saw. All right, moving right along, we're gonna wrap up this video. The reason I have this out, this is our brad nailer. I was gonna say that like a battery of this capacity, like a 2 amp hour battery, this is perfectly fine for something like this, because you're not using it for an extended period of time. So anyways, let's, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a couple of cuts. I've got some spare plywood over here and some spare 2x4s. We're just gonna test some things out. I'm not gonna use the 2 amp hour battery. Again, I'm gonna link a video in the description box below where this other guy goes through it with the different batteries. Go check that out if you want to. And then we're gonna attach the shop vac and see how that works. So let's do it. All right, so I've already done just a little bit of practicing. The sun's going down, so I had to add a little bit of lighting here. But I've got a piece of plywood that we're going to do a rip cut on, and then also just a 1x6, something like that. So let me just show you real quick, using the 6 amp hour battery, what it can do. Done. Smooth like butter. That was very simple, very easy. Now what I want to do is just make a mark with a speed square. And I've already tested this out. What I'm going to have to do, because the motor is so close to the plate here, I've got to lift it up just a little bit, something like that right there, just so this will clear the motor, just like that. So, and what you can see here, it's got 0 and then 45, and we're going to line it up with this line right here on the 0, okay? Just like that. Now let's do a small rip cut on this piece of plywood, and then what we'll do, just observe as you're watching this, watch where the sawdust comes out. Does it come out from the front or does it come out in the back? We're all over. There didn't seem to be any resistance. I wasn't really pushing all that hard either. I just let the saw be the saw and do the cuts for me. Now let's attach the shop vac and see how this operates. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. Let me know if this video has been helpful or resourceful to you guys. If you have any comments, any questions about this saw. The biggest question is, I think, like, who is this saw for? For me personally, you know, Jess and I, we love doing just projects around the house. We obviously have this DIY channel, and we've got a lot of ideas and plans for the future. Right now, it's not a main thing. This channel is not a main priority in our lives, and so we kind of just take videos as they come and some of the projects as they come. Have a really high-end circular saw. It's not really a necessity for us. DIYers, homeowners, I think that this is perfect for those types of projects because realistically, you're not going to be using this saw every single day for multiple hours during the day unless you're like building a home. That said, I don't know that this is a suitable saw for like a job site or a construction site as a contractor because I don't work in that line of work, so I can't really speak to that. You know, for me personally, the saw's not going to get daily use, so I don't know how it would perform in a situation where it's running consistently all day, every day. But based on the price and the weight of it and the easeability of being able to operate this saw compared to even my older model, I highly recommend it for those of us like myself that are DIYers and just home project enthusiasts. I would recommend this saw. I think it's great. Maybe even possibly the saw that's a little bit smaller than this one. I'm not sure exactly what the size is. I will address really quickly the blade level thing that we were kind of discussing earlier. I didn't seem to have any problems. Looking at the wood, it seemed to cut it pretty even and straight. Didn't seem to be any problems with that. And then lastly, on the Home Depot website, 89% recommend this saw, and that's out of 266 reviews on the website. Some of the biggest concerns were that the dust collection port is useless, as the majority of the dust comes from the front of the saw, which, again, I wasn't able to see it probably as clearly as you are from your perspective, so let me know in the comments below what you observed. It did look like it was coming out of the front and the sides a little bit, but when I attached the hose, that seemed to kind of alleviate that issue. And then additionally, blade to shoe leveling is difficult, which prevents from perfect 0-degree cuts. And so that's what we were talking about here earlier. There was another review, 1 or 2 on the Home Depot website, people stating that they weren't able to get it to a perfectly 0 level. Everyone else seemed to have really positive reviews over this saw, and so I would highly recommend it if that's something you're interested in purchasing. And that's going to do it for this video. Be sure to check out everything down in the description box below that I referenced in this video, even the saw. Go check that out. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you've gotten value out of this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. If you're interested in seeing more reviews and unboxings of these products, specifically Ryobi, please let me know in the comments below. Other than that, thank you again so much for watching. Check us out on Instagram. We're over there as well. And our Etsy shop. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.